If you have never made a raw edge applique quilt, then this is the quilt to try it out because it is easy. Now, Droplets uses a layer cake for your print fabrics and your background, and I am using the Season of Tribute, Listen to Your Heart by Sharon Holland for Art Gallery Fabrics in the layer cake, as well as a print from the collection for the background. Now, if you would like to purchase this fabric, I will have a link down below in the description to purchase from a quilt store that I trust and also personally shopped at. Doing so, a small portion will help out my channel. Now, Droplets pattern is written in yardage for your background fabric, and with that background fabric, you are going to, of course, cut 10-inch by width of fabric strips, subcut into 10-inch squares. Now, you, of course, can supplement these 10-inch squares for a background layer cake bundle, but I really love this print, so I had to use it for the background. Now, to start, print out the Droplets template page. Now, do make sure you print the template out at 100%. Do not scale to print, and then use that 1-inch register mark to ensure that it printed out correctly. And if it is, then go ahead and use paper scissors and go ahead and cut on the bold exterior line for both the templates A and B. Now, Droplets is only available in a raw edge applique form. But once those paper templates are cut, we will be using the cardboard backing from the print layer cake and retrace both templates A and B and cut them out. Also, do not forget to label them for your reference, and if you are going to use scraps instead of a layer cake bundle and you don't have a cardboard backing from a layer cake available, do not worry, you can also use template plastic, which I will have a link down below in the description for it as well if you're not familiar with it. It kind of works the same exact way. But next, go ahead and take the Heat and Bond adhesive, and I am using the Ultra Hold, which is actually the very first time I am using it because I wanted to give it a try since this will be a lap size quilt and will eventually get washed several times. So I wanted to see the difference between the Ultra Hold and the Light. So I'm going to be testing that out. But go ahead and cut 10.5-inch by width of Heat and Bond strips and go ahead and use the chart in the pattern, which will tell you how many of these strips to cut. But once they're all cut, go ahead and stack a few of those Heat and Bond papers on top of each other, and then you're going to start on one of the sides and cut out a template A droplet. And you should yield about 5 template A's per strip, and you're going to repeat the same process but for the smaller template, which will of course have a smaller strip, and you're going to cut as many as the PDF pattern will tell you for the quilt size that you are making, which of course includes a baby throw, twin, queen, and a king size quilt. Now, once all of your Heat and Bond templates are cut out, take your print layer cake squares, and on the wrong side of the fabric, you will need to carefully place 2 template A's and 4 template B Heat and Bond pieces per each layer cake square. So don't go ironing them down too quickly. Do make sure that they will all fit onto that single layer cake, and then go ahead and iron them down into place. But once your Heat and Bond is ironed into place on the back side of that fabric, go ahead and take fabric scissors and carefully recut those shapes out. Now, I am saying carefully because at this time, however your edges look is actually how the final outcome will look too. But go ahead and repeat all these steps to all of your print layer cakes. Now it is time to make the block. So go ahead and take a background 10-inch square and finger press, or you can lightly iron a 45-degree diagonal. Then using your ruler, measure 3/4 inches away from the bottom right corner and then place the droplets point there but centered on the diagonal like so. And once it is all set, go ahead and peel off that paper backing and iron it down into place. Now at this time, you can sew 1/8 of an inch away from the applique's edges to secure it down, or you can hand stitch if you prefer, or even use those decorative stitches on your sewing machine. But I am actually going to leave it like so because I'm going to be custom quilting this quilt later on, and I will then do this step on my long arm machine. So it's kind of done all at once, and it'll save me an extra step later on. but go ahead and repeat until you have enough blocks for the quilt size that you are making. Next, we are going to start laying out our quilt blocks, but we will not be done afterwards. There is still one more step, which we will be adding these little droplets. But using that diagram within the pattern, start laying your blocks out and sew your blocks together to form rows. And then lastly, sew your rows together to almost complete your quilt top. Now, lastly, we will need to add those tiny little droplet splatters. Now, I personally prefer doing it at this time because it was easier matching up 4 like prints of the little droplets. Now, the rule of thumb is wherever you see a large empty opening, this is where you're going to place 4 of your droplets like so. Then, if you are working on the edge of your quilt top, you can use a completed mini splat. Now, directly across that mini splat on the block, there will be another mini droplet. Now, this will of course help you when you only need to add like a half a splatter or even just one single droplet. But once you have laid it all out, go ahead and lastly peel off those paper backings and iron it down. And doing it like this will kind of keep those like prints together, and I found it personally easier doing it like so. But here is what my final quilt top will look like, and because I do have a good amount of this background fabric still on hand, I will be using it for the backing as well, just to kind of also make everything easier when I'm long arm quilting. And as for the thread choice, I wanted to match the background as best as possible, and I ended up choosing glide thread in the color linen. And here's the quilt all finished, and this quilt was not only super fun to make, but it was also very fun to do the long arm quilting too. Now, I do hope you have enjoyed this applique quilt pattern, and once again, if you've never tried raw edge applique, this is the quilt to do so because it was super easy and kind of quick to put together. And if you could please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can be notified for your next amazing quilt project.